So my guess is, from Vinay's perspective, is to give Frank the game, because if he gets sacked, the coaching staff, bar Heitinga, are likely to leave. So I think they want to secure a manager from their coaching staff and get rid of the current one, no matter the outcome tomorrow.
Yeah, good question. A good point brought up there by Luca. What does happen when the coaching staff if Frank wants to get sacked?
Well, he brought in a lot of coaches, Thomas Frank.
He did.
And
they all followed him from Brentford, a lot of them.
Yeah. And if Frank goes, we talk about the compensation Frank's going to have to get. All these coaching staff are going to have to get compensation as well.
This is my point. Like, I think this is why I think they're.
Because we
really
didn't even think
hesitant.
of the compensation for Cochrane and Jorgensen and all these people.
I don't. Well, maybe we'll want to keep them, but then again, a new manager, will they want to work with them or they want their own people? Depends. I don't know. I know obviously Ange brought. He didn't have a specific coaching staff go everywhere with him, but people like Conte did. And they always
but Ange actually brought in people over time, didn't he? And they all left with him, like Rob Birch and what's his name, Jedinak and people.
Yeah, but my point is he didn't have specific coaches. Like he had brought in new people he hadn't worked with before.
Yeah.
People like Conte had their same people and stuff like that. So for a new manager coming in, are we going to tell them you have to work with what we have here, or are we going to allow them to bring in their own staff?
It depends. It depends what they do. It depends what they want. You know.
That's what I'm saying. But if let's say they want their own,
If they want their own staff, then they have to bring their own staff.
That could be a sticking point.
Well, it can't be because.
It can be.
Well,
that was it. Well, I know that was the original problem with Conte. I think it was a big part of the problem is he wanted a bunch of staff, and they said no, we're not doing that. Then they bowed to it after they panicked.
Yeah, I think if they sack Frank, which they will do, they know they're in the shit. They need to bow to the manager's needs. If they go with the manager and he wants to bring in his own staff, you have to bring in his own staff. I think the majority of managers now bring in their own staff.
Like Poch will have his own staff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he has his people, which you could takes everywhere with him.
Yeah.
So definitely he would want his own people. But we had a whole big song and dance about how good Cochrane is. Like people, Heiting has just come in.
But these coaches might not even want to stay if Frank goes.
Yeah, it might not, but they might as well. I don't know. It depends who the new manager is, I guess. But I think that's also another thing to consider for Vinay. He's going to have to lay off potentially a load of coaches and the money that's going to cost on top of a massive outlay to let go of Frank. It's a real sorry situation which they've put themselves in here. And I think that's part of the reason why they're just so hesitant to end it.
Jamie Imber says, Captain Romero has voted you out, Frank. Time to leave.
He's definitely a traitor, Frank. He's 100% a traitor. Get him gone.
Ben Bowman says, a win tomorrow changes nothing in terms of how the fans feel about Frank. I honestly can't get my head around why they think this is a good idea. As much as I want him to go, it feels wrong for the club to lead Frank to the Lions in this way tomorrow. This is so incompetent. So true, isn't it? It's just like, what are they thinking? What are they thinking?
If I was Frank, I would resign, but then again, he won't get his payout, so actually I wouldn't resign. But I agree. It's just it's from our point of view, looking from the outside in, it's a bunch of nonsense. How is he still here? What's the point of carrying this on? But maybe they're just feeling differently within the boardroom. Maybe they're feeling like we need to give this a bit more time. I don't know.
They are idiots, man. They're absolute idiots for not sacking him this morning or last night.
It should be over.
It's madness.
This limbo is not helping anyone.
It's absolute madness how they haven't done it. It really is. I can't believe it. I genuinely cannot believe it. That he's still our manager and he's going to take a press conference today.
Man United had an interim to the interim.
Yeah.
That's what we should have done.
Will Hester saying, can the players just do a Senegal and walk off at the first whistle, please?
Imagine Romero leading us as soon as the first kick off. All right, everyone, we're going off.
That was nuts last night.
That was crazy. I've never seen anything like that before in my life. I think that's what we need to do. We need a big walk-off when the kick-off happens.
Return of the Shelf says, for what it's worth, I think the decision is made, but there's work to do behind the scenes to form a plan on what to do next, which is a worry in itself. Have open training at 2:15 today. Gave the club a very tight deadline. Then pre-Dortmund press conference 3:30. The club is radio silent. No pro-Frank stories anymore. No votes of confidence. He's on his own. The club will have expected a loss tomorrow. Frank will be in charge for that. He remains for 48 hours, and that's kind of the way I feel about the situation.
Yeah, I hope it's that. That's the most logical explanation for what's going on here. But on that point of view, why not just sack him and then deal with everything after? Like this point, like what's the point of keeping him in charge? What benefit does that do?
There's no benefit to it. There's no benefit whatsoever.
You might as well just put Heitinga in charge for 48 hours and that's it instead of...
It's mad though, isn't
I understand
it?
You've got to
Heitinga came into the club last week as assistant coach and suddenly you're just going to put him in as head coach against Dortmund.
But like, I understand what he's saying. There's work to do behind the scenes, but whether he's here or not, that work doesn't change. What difference does that make?
Yeah.
That you're gonna that money you're gonna pay out to him, you're gonna have to pay out to him either way. Like whether Frank's in charge as head coach or not, that work is going to be the same work. So you might as well just cut the cord now.
You know, forget Heitinga. They should probably just put Cochrane.
Yeah, Cochrane.
At least he's been with the players all season.
Yeah, true. Give Cochrane.
And you know, Brentford were looking at him for the permanent role anyway. So. He's spoken about, he's available.
Keith, talk about coaches. Keith Andrews was a set-piece coach. They gave him a head role. Yeah. And look at him now. So sometimes it's not all about experience and all this kind of stuff. Like, so you can do a job sometimes if you're the right fit. I'm not saying Cochrane is. I'm just saying we shouldn't dismiss these guys just because they're not first-team managers right now or whatever.
Yeah. So, yeah, if it was a choice between Cochrane and Heitinga, I'd probably just, for one game, I'll probably give it to Cochrane. George Achilles says, so let me get this right. Fans have already paid £70 for an extremely important Champions League game at home that they can't get back. With currently no hope of winning due to a combination of everyone wanting the manager out, including players, and injuries and ineligibilities, but he takes charge of the match anyway because those at the top don't have a plan. Okay, what happens if by some miracle we win? Do they keep him in the job longer despite a lot of the board also wanting him out anyway? It's a complete mess. It's a complete and utter shambles. It really is.
So that's a shambles when you got Tottenham fans worried about winning.
They're even bottling a sacking. It's unbelievable.
I just can't see them sacking if we win.
We're not going to win though.
We're not going to win, but if we do, I can't see them sacking him for another game until we go another game without a win.
What if we actually
just go on a winning run?
What if we actually win though, but play front-footed football and blow them away and blow them off the park?
Yeah, they'll keep him.
Yeah, but I mean, from your perspective, if we did that,
given the circuit, I mean, it'd be impressive.
Yeah,
I'll be impressed.
So would you say that on the basis of that, there's an opportunity of him turning it around?
I said after every game that we've played well this season, which is very few, I've said if we see more of that, then he can turn it around. But unfortunately, it's like once every 10 games.
Yeah, I get that, and I understand, and I've had the same feeling. But this is Dortmund in the Champions League in a really big game. And you'd expect us to play the dirtiest of dirtiest balls tomorrow, you know what I mean? But if we go there and give it to them and win 2 or 3-0 and actually, have an unbelievable performance, best performance we've seen this season, would you not be a bit intrigued?
As in, how much time would I give it? Again, we'll give him another game, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably I'll give him another game.
And if he wins that?
Then I'll if he keeps winning, I'll keep giving him games.
Yeah.
Sure. But I just don't see that happening.
No, I don't. Nobody sees it happening. This is what hypotheticals are all about.
Yeah, if he keeps winning, if he wins every game between now and the end of the season, I'll keep him. Sure.
But I'm not talking about now. I'm just talking about the Dortmund game.
I know. If he wins the Dortmund game convincingly.
Yeah. So you would say, fine, keep him.
Fine. Another game. What's the point of sacking a manager if they've won a great game with what we want to see by a convincing margin given our injuries? I think if you can get that kind of performance out of this lot right now, you'd give him another game, yeah.
Smith says, in response to Sky Premier League's tweet saying Frank is expected to remain in charge, he says, not another one.
Another one? Oh, I love that meme.
Spurs Insider saying how they can let him take tomorrow night after he's lost the fans, but also quite clearly the board is proper classless. Just put him out of his misery and move on. Dragging him out benefits no one.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Hotspur report saying the board will never make this club successful. Sheer incompetence.
I think they're really showing that. I think what they're really showing at the moment is less incompetence, which definitely have shown that, but more cowardice. I think they've been cowards right now. I think they need to just make the decision. I think they need to just pull the cord, press the button, give them the P45. And I think they're hesitating at the moment.
They're as much coward as our football is right now.
Absolutely,
it all goes hand in hand.
I absolutely agree with that. I think they're really. I really think they're hesitating, having to. I think they're staring the outlay they're going to have to make, and they're going to be accountable for this outlay to the board, the hierarchy, the Lewis family, and I think they're scared to do it.
What I don't understand is what have these guys done in their career to get this role at Tottenham Hotspur? Why are these guys our decision makers? Seriously, it makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. Johan Lang got sacked and demoted at Aston Villa, and they've only gone better since he's left.
He's been demoted since he's been here.
Demoted and restored because we got no one else. Vinay, very mixed kind of reviews from his time at Arsenal. Arsenal weren't exactly upset to see him leave. That's the reality. Now, he's head honcho here, which is crazy. He got brought in as a number 2, and then the board decided to sack Levy, which everyone was happy about. But were they happy about making him top dog? It's ridiculous.
The whole thing is just crazy. And I think I just think they're clinging on at the moment. I really think that. I'm starting to think that they're clinging on just because they don't want to be the ones that held accountable for what happened, which is essentially they've sacked the manager who's won a trophy, they've hired this guy, gave him the third highest paid manager in the league.
They're going to be held accountable regardless.
I know that, but they're trying to put it off. They don't want that accountability. That is coming. Don't get me wrong. That accountability is 100% coming.
It's here already. Forget coming. It's here.
I'm talking about between them and the board. I'm not. The fans are on their back. Don't get twisted. I'm saying right now. Let's say in a different world, Frank wins 5 games in a row, he turns it around, and he keeps his job, and he's actually a success. That's what they're hoping for. I think they're hoping for somehow he can turn this around so that all that pressure doesn't get on their back. Put it this way: if they sack him today, that's them admitting defeat. It's over. Then they're accountable to the board for the outlay of the manager, the outlay of the potential coaching staff, all the messes they've put us in. It falls at their feet. Mm-hmm. That's who it falls at right now. So if they delay it by 1 or 2 games to try and see a Hail Mary if they can turn it around, from their point of view, what harm does it do to them? Because right now, it's either they're accountable today or they're accountable in 2 games' time, but at least there's for them, a 1% or 0.5% chance he can get a result and turn it around and whatever, get by some more time. But if they cut the cord now, it's over. It falls right at their feet right now, today. So I think they're trying to delay that as much as possible. But I think it's a fool's errand.
Yeah, but also the way they need to look at it, for every failure, there's an opportunity for a success story at the end of the day. Because if they admit failure with Thomas Frank, there's an opportunity for a success story round the corner with a new manager.
But their heads could be in the chopping block too.
From who?
From the Lewis family.
I mean, I hope so. But if they bring in a manager that fits the bill of the club and does well from now to the end of the season, their job will be safe.
True.
So you see what I mean? For every failure, there's a success rate waiting to happen around the corner, or another failure, obviously. But they've got to back themselves to make that success.
If they sack Frank and install an interim, that's the thing. If there's no permanent appointment ready to come in now, and they've got an interim in charge. That's all they're doing. So we're going to have to go through half a season of complete and utter probably mess with an interim. It's going to be a mess anyway, don't get me wrong. But with an interim, it's going to be also very bad. It's not a great situation to be in. When you've got an interim for 5 months, things have gone very wrong. And that is laid at their feet.
Mm-hmm.
So if they've got a choice of, do we give Frank a bit more time to see if we can turn it around before the chickens come home to roost, essentially, or do we cut the cord and potentially install an interim and look ahead, but knowing that this is very much on our heads? I can understand why they're probably looking at, let's just give it a bit more time.
They've also got an opportunity right now to lay the blame on Levy one last time. They do, because Levy was obviously a big part.
I think the Lewis family do. I don't think these two can.
Yeah, but like Levy obviously signed off on him being third biggest paid chairman, manager in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So from that standpoint, you know, they could still probably just about get away with it.
These two,
obviously, I know they were heavily involved in it. Don't get me wrong, and they're
forget heavily involved. It was their decision. Levy just signed off on it. I don't think Levy's out there picking the manager. I think these guys. Levy didn't come up with the 10-point plan, did he? These guys did.
I think these guys did, but I think he was involved in it as well. He's involved in everything.
I don't think Levy's out there deciding, coming up with who should have been the manager in terms of his own idea. These guys came up with a 10-point plan. They did this whole 30. Like, I don't think Levy was there sifting through 30 managers. It was these guys. It was them two.
Yeah.
These are the guys responsible for.
No, these are the guys ultimately responsible, but there is an opportunity for them to blame Levy. There's an opportunity there.
The only way you can.
Don't get me wrong. I think these two guys are the most culpable.
No, I'm
100%.
saying the only way Levy lays the only way the blame is get left at Levy's feet is from the Lewis family saying Levy appointed these guys. Levy brought them to the club. They're the ones who made the decision about the new manager and had this 30-point plan and a flawed process, and that is the ultimate failings of the previous ownership, and we're not going to let that happen. So the only way the Lewis family or Tottenham get away with laying this at Levy's feet is if you get rid of these guys.
Yeah, and I think that would suit everyone, to be honest. Jacko says the reports don't make sense. We said to Frank that we'll sack him, but we give him the game versus Dortmund. What if we win the game? I'm not so sure they're convinced about sacking him. Makes zero sense to give a dead man walking a Champions League game absolute mess.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about. I really hope that's not true, and I hope it's just a matter of case of they're sounding out, which I'm sure they are. They're maybe looking at alternatives, but has that decision been made that this isn't he's now had this is like one game and that's it?
I'll tell you what, this press conference is probably the most highly anticipated Frank press conferences there've ever been. Crazy, isn't it? Miss Fretton says, such poor thinking at Tottenham. There's a very strong likelihood that Frank gets booed from the moment his name is read out at the stadium tomorrow night. Recipe for disaster, and will probably ruin our Champions League chances too. I mean, that's been happening for a while now. It's not even like the first time. But tomorrow it's going to be bad. It's going to be real bad. Yeah,
I'm not looking forward to it tomorrow.
Yeah, but that is it. That is the way the internet did react to the news that Frank is staying for at least the Dortmund game. It's going to be crazy tomorrow at the stadium. I'm kind of like intrigued what it's actually going to be like and how bad it's going to get. There's so many tickets available. It's going to be empty there tomorrow as well. But the noise is going to be deafening.
Yep. What's what they say? So, how many? Is there a lot of seats available? You're saying?
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. What do you reckon the capacity, the attendance is going to be?
I think it'll be similar to what the Prague and Copenhagen games are like. Let's have a look. I'm pretty sure there's just seats anywhere you want, and they're all like 70 to 80 quid minimum. like, why is anyone going to pay 70, 80? I mean, we did it, but why is anyone going to pay 70 to 80 quid to go to that game tomorrow?
Yeah.
Just trying to get it up. My thing's crashed. Yeah, I can't get it up for some reason. Can't even get on the website. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Any block that you want, you can sit in. And there's like hundreds of tickets in each block. That's mad. The South Lower's pretty much not got many seats left, but everywhere else there's hundreds of tickets.